afternoon once again. I am Dr. Rosalie Saycon of Lala National High School Division of Lanao del Norte, your facilitator of today's webinar on action research qualitative data analysis. Our focus of discussion this afternoon will be on qualitative data analysis and its three aspects of analysis. But before that one, let us know about first the objectives of this webinar. First, describe the steps to be followed in qualitative data analysis. Another objective, perform qualitative analysis on data provided by developing themes from them and sorting responses accordingly. And describe the steps to be followed in qualitative data analysis and prepare a summary table showing themes with frequencies and percentage of mention. But before we are going to have the proper discussion about data analysis, let us have first the pre-discussion activity on classifying words and phrases into categories. So listen for the instruction. Instruction 1. Inside of the box, it contains the following words and phrases written in small strips of paper. Then think of general categories for the words and phrases that are similar or related in idea. So let us have now the list of words and phrases. Bullying, portfolio, think, pair, share, daily lesson plan, KWL chart, tardiness, sit work, noise. Another, graphic organizer, performance task, daily lesson log, absenteeism, quarterly test, role-playing, school form 1, and instructional materials. Another instruction from that given list of words and phrases, now we are going to write down the categories, the corresponding words and phrases in columns on any piece of your paper. So I will give you 5 minutes to do that one. have now the suggested categorization of words and phrases that I had given a while ago. On a table, we have 4 columns. The first column is the classroom problems. Another also is the assessment strategies. Another is the teaching strategies. And the 4th column, we have teachers' deliverables. Are you done classifying or categorizing the list of words and phrases? So let us have the analysis of the pre-discussion activity. Okay, first question. What was the first thing that you did to accomplish the task? Second, how did you come up with the categories? Third, were there words or phrases that you found difficult to classify? Why? What did you do these difficult words or phrases? Another question. How did you make sure that every word and phrases was categorized? 5. What can you say about the different categories that the different groups developed? Number 6. Which classification do you think is the most suitable one? Okay, now, let me show you the recommended categories for the given words and phrases. Our short activity is similar to how we analyze the qualitative data, and I will be sharing to you later on the most easiest way of analyzing the data. Okay, next, we have understanding qualitative data analysis. What do you mean by data analysis, particularly in a qualitative design of your action research? Qualitative data analysis involves examining, categorizing, and tabulating descriptive or narrative responses and information. The whole process that can be considered is what we call as recombining. This recombining serves as a qualitative evidence in order for you to address the research question that initiated the study. The process of qualitative data analysis entails the use of analytical and logical reasoning in examining its qualitative response or data. Qualitative data collected from various sources using different collection methods are assembled, reviewed, and analyzed to summarize the findings. Then after that one, you are going to draw conclusions. So we have different steps of qualitative data analysis. First step, the qualitative data are prepared for analysis. Second, data responses are read thoroughly to get to know them. So meaning to say, in this kind of steps, we are not only going to read once, but we are going to read, and reread, and reread in order for us to discover the categories and themes. The third steps, from the preliminary study of the data, categories or themes are developed. Another step, responses are classified according to the categories or themes. So categories or themes are the same, don't be confused about that one. Okay, 5. Data are tallied, then summary table is prepared with frequencies and percentage for the categories or themes. Specific responses are also selection to serve as examples of how research participants express each category or theme. Okay, let us have preparing qualitative data for analysis. Data collected from interviews and observations must be transcribed. So when you see transcribe or transcription, this must be seen in a sort of table. In the first column, the question, the sample interview question. Then the second column is the response or the responses of the respondents. And then the third column is the transcription, because sometimes the responses of the respondents could be often Visayan or expressed in Visayan or in Tagalog. So we have to transcribe that one into an English language. So in this preparation, it is good practice to begin with transcription immediately after data collection. So what I did in my study, in my qualitative study, because I used to have this design, because for me, I find easier this qualitative design than the quantitative, because my math or numbers is my Waterloo, to tell you frankly. The use of word processor in encoding the transcription is suggested because it facilitates data analysis. So meaning to say, we are going to use the laptops or the desktop in order for us to transcribe or to have the transcription. Okay, so we have here an example of research question. Ano ang karanasan mo sa mga graphic organizer or GO na ginamit ng iyong guro? So we have different responses. We have 10 respondents. And when you see I or 01 is represent the response of student 1, so on and so forth. So since it is, we have 10 respondents, so 010, all of the ID. So we have also the responses. So 01, student 1, his or her response, maganda, mas lalo kung naintindihan ang lesson. Student 2, naging malinaw ang tinuturo ng teacher dahil sa graphic organizer. Student 3, na-imagine ko tuloy kung ano ang connection ng mga terms sa isa't isa. Student 4 response, mas natutunan ko ang lesson dahil sa binigay na graphic organizer ni teacher. Student 5, okay lang, pareho lang ng nakasulat sa libro, kaso lang pinaikli at nilagay sa isang diagram. Okay, that is the response of student 5. Another response of student 6, minimorize ko na lang ang figure at yun ang nakatulong na maala ko ang lesson. Student 7, bali parang nagka-idea na kami sa lesson dahil sa graphic organizer. Student 8, medyo nalilito ako sa graphic organizer kasi iba yung ginamit na words kaysa book. Okay, student 9 response, nakatutulong ang graphic organizer para maihanda ang isip ko sa ituturo ni teacher. And the last but not the least, student 10 response, mas na-focus ako sa graphic organizer kaysa explanation ng teacher. So those are the responses of 10 students out from the given question, which is, ano ang karanasan mo sa graphic organizer na ginamit ng iyong guro sa kanyang class discussion. Okay. So let us have to know what is meant by qualitative data analysis. So qualitative data analysis implies dividing responses into chunks or segments that later compiled by a meaningful discussion. Some of these messages are clearly articulated. Sometimes they are hidden in euphemisms. So when you see euphemisms, maybe in the first glance, in the first reading that we have, we could not see the meaning, or we could not see the category, the meaning or the message of the response of the respondents on that particular sample research interview. When you see chunking or slicing, it is a slicing of the responses into bite sizes. It is an essential foundation for the next phase of qualitative data analysis. Why? Because it is the labeling of chunks or segments. The labels then become the categories or the themes. Okay, let's have now the developing themes from preliminary inspection. This process of examining data and finding the major ideas or thoughts that are apparent called as an open coding. So the one that I had mentioned a while ago, in a table you have 4 columns, the sample interview question, the response or the incident or the cases, and then you have the transcription and the category. That process is what we call as open coding. Extracting pattern also is called theming. So when you say extracting pattern, meaning to say fuse, we are going to combine one responses to another responses and then get the common category. That is what we call as theming. Technically, theming refers to the drawing goods from one or more transcripts to present the findings of qualitative research in a coherent or meaningful way. That is according to Sutton and Austin in 2005. Theming is very important to engage because as soon as possible, you can focus this kind of patterns as they appear in subsequent data collected. It is important to engage in theming because out of this theming, you can have the idea on how you are going to discuss the category or themes. There are 3 themes should be assigned by a certain action researcher. There's something to talk about as findings. So more than 5 themes may be difficult for you to discuss and cumbersome to discuss. So 3 or 4 themes or categories will be enough for this researcher to discuss meaningfully the research all about. How to make a theme or a category. Going back with the question a while ago, that ano ang karanasan mo sa mga graphic organizer na ginamit ng iyong guro sa pagtuturo. So the following themes that I have now, example, preparation for lesson. The code is PL. When we see code, it is an abbreviation of the theme. Okay, so since preparation for lesson, the code is PL. Another theme, clarification of lesson. So the theme, the code is CL. Another theme that I had prepared, increase of student comprehension. So the code is and C. Then there are also responses which is negative to the question. So I put that one as in or confusion or N. Simply the code is N. The research that I had given to you is only a guide for you to decide whether the theme should be written or reformulated. It will also be enable you to identify a theme that is not appropriate, which should be then eliminated. That is why, as I said a while ago, rereading, read, and then reread is very important. Rereading of the different responses of the respondents is very important because sometimes we forgot some important words, not knowing those words are a theme or a category. Okay, so how are we going to classify responses according to themes? The researcher now has to return to its response, as I said a while ago, and assign each to one of them. One way of facilitating this phase is to mark keyword in the responses that would serve as a guide in classifying them according to themes. With the use of highlighter pens of different colors, maybe you can use Stabilo or crayons as your highlighter pens. The researcher may shade the same keywords with the same colors. So an example of this one, if the response of student 1 and 10 is the same, having the same theme or category, then you can highlight that one in the same color. So this is the easier way of assigning responses to particular things. There are 2 things that can be done. First, the themes either have to be revised to accommodate this response. Another, the researcher has to create a catch-all category others. So meaning to say, do not stop assigning category, even though it reads into 4 categories. Entertain as you read and reread again the responses of the respondents, maybe you can encounter some other category. Then cuts all, entertain all, and then later on you are going to fuse that one or combine that kind of category or themes. As you categorize responses according to themes, you must also focus on the analysis and not the sidetrack of those that are not related or necessary for the research question. Identify these irrelevant responses and disregard them. Because sometimes, some of the responses of our respondents on that particular research or interview question are irrelevant. Meaning, when say irrelevant, it is not connected into our main question. So, like for example, instead of ano ang karanasan mo sa graphic organizer, maybe ang sagot ng respondents, he or she define what is graphic organizer, which is not related to the question given, to the interview question given. So we have an example of the classification of responses according to themes. So going back again to the previous research question, ano ang karanasan mo sa mga graphic organizer na ginamit ng iyong guro? So we have themes and responses. Assign themes and the responses of different students. So one theme, preparation for lesson. According to the student number 7, ito yung kanyang sagot. Bali parang nagka-idea na kami sa lesson dahil sa graphic organizer. Another related response, nakakatulong ang graphic organizer para maihanda ang isip ko sa ituturo ni teacher. Okay, diba? This is a kind of preparation for lesson. Another theme, clarification of lesson. The code is CL. So ito yung mga kasagutan which is related to this particular theme. Student 2 or 2, naging malinaw ang tinuturo ng teacher dahil sa graphic organizer. So from the word malinaw, it will lead to a theme which is clarification. O diba? Okay. Another response of student 5, okay lang, pareho lang ng nakasulat sa libro, kaso lang pinaikli at nilagay sa isang diagram. So the word pinaikli at nilagay sa isang diagram, then the lesson is being clarified. Another theme, increase in students' comprehension. So ito yung mga kasagutan, marami ang mga kasagutan na related dito sa theme or sa category na ito. Ito ay magmula sa response ng mga sumusunod student. Student 1, maganda, mas lalo kong naintindihan ang lesson. Another response, 3, student 3, na-imagine ko tuloy kung ano ang connection ng mga terms sa isa't isa. So, naintindihan, connection is very important. Another response of number 4 student, mas natutunan ko ang lesson dahil sa binigay na graphic organizer ni teacher. So the word mas natutunan, it refers to the increase of students' comprehension. O diba? Then, third, another response of student 6 which is related to this kind of theme or category. Minimorize ko na lang ang figure at yun ang nakakatulong na maalaala ko ang lesson. The last but not that least is that student response number 10. Mas naalaala ko ang nakalagay sa graphic organizer kaysa explanation ni teacher. So nakakatulong para kay response student 8, mas nakakatulong ang graphic organizer. Nadagdagan ang kanyang pagkakaintindi sa kanilang lesson. Diba? Okay. The last category or theme is confusion. The code here is N. So ito yung kasagutan. Only one student who answer related to this theme. Student number 8. Medyo nalilito ako sa graphic organizer kasi iba yung ginamit ng words ni teacher kaysa po. So the words nalilito means confused. Any questions so far in regards to the analyzing the theme of the different responses? Okay, none? Okay, let's proceed to the next. So, before finalizing the result of your data analysis, try to review again the themes and the responses classified under its theme. How? Are you going to review and review? Reread and reread the transcription of the responses from the respondents. Okay. That process that you are going to review the themes, you're going to reread the responses of the respondents, that is what we call as pair debriefing. When you see pair debriefing, this is a means of validating your data analysis. Another way of carrying out is by asking fellow teacher to analyze the data without him or her knowing your categorization. Simply as a pair coaching. You as a action researcher, you may ask, what do you mean for Miss? Hi, girl. What do you mean by clarification of lesson? What is your meaning about this one? So that is simply as it is. Do not know here that you are conducted the action research. Okay, sometimes some researchers use codes or labels for the themes to facilitate classification or responses. Sometimes some researchers also, they use labels that they may be in the form of terms, which are often used by participants themselves. Summarizing the results in a table. The table includes the themes, the sample responses, the frequency or the number of responses, given, classified under themes, percentage of responses, and ranking of themes according to frequency, with rank 1 given to the theme with the highest frequency. We will have now the example on how to make or do the summary of qualitative responses. So we have 5 columns in one table. So in the first column, we could have the themes or the category. In the second column, we have the sample responses from the respondents. In the third column, we have the frequency. We say frequency, how many students answered the same way. And then the percentage. And the last one, we have the rank. So the highest rank is the first category or the first theme, as I discussed a while ago. Okay, theme. Example, preparation for lesson. Sample responses. Nakakatulong ang graphic organizer para maihanda ang isip ko sa ituturo ni teacher. That is the response of student number 9. Then, the frequency, having the same or related sample responses. There were 2 students who answered the same way. And then the percentage is 20. And it ranked 25. Another also is we have theme, clarification of lesson. Sample responses. Naging malinaw ang tinuturo ng teacher dahil sa graphic organizer. So we have 2 frequency, meaning to say there are 2 students or 2 respondents who answered the same way or related way. So the percentage is 20 out of 100. Then the rank is 25. So meaning, preparation for lesson and clarification of lesson themes have the same frequency, percentage, and rank. Okay. Another theme, increase of student comprehension. So sample responses, mas natutunan ko ang lesson dahil sa binigay na graphic organizer ni teacher. So in this kind of theme, there are 5 students who answer or related or similar assigned in this kind of theme or category. So since it is 5 out of 10, then the percentage is 50. So of course, it ranked 1 or first since it composed of many students has a related response or similar category or theme. Okay, the last one, we have the negative or confusion theme. Okay, sample responses. Medyo nalilito ako sa graphic organizer. Kasi iba yung ginamit ng words kaysa book. There is only 1 student who answered the same way. So since if there is only 1, so the percentage of 10 out of 100. Then it rank number 4. Okay, so any questions so far? So it is very easy to do qualitative action research, especially in analysis of the data. If there is no question, then let us proceed for the application. This application is very important for you to accomplish this one because I will not sign your certificate of participation in this webinar if you cannot pass this one. Joke lang na siya ha. Of course, you have the certificates afterwards. Okay. So, application given grade 6 pupils, out of that maybe 50 students or 40 students, your total sampling population is 10. Given question, what is the reason you were absent yesterday? Okay, those are the given data. Okay, task 1 for you to do. Cope up with 2 or 3 themes and then categorize the responses according to them. Okay, the same is true what we did a while ago in our discussion, that you make a certain theme or then with the corresponding responses. Okay, reasons for absence, maybe wala akong baon, student 1. Mahirap sumakay, student 2. Hindi ako nakagawa ng assignment, student 3. Maraming ginawa sa bukid, student 4. Hindi ko alam ang lesson, student 5. Hindi ako pinapasok ng aking mga magulang. That is the response of student 6. Bakit siya naka-absent yesterday? Takot ako sa teacher, yun ang kasagutan ni student 7. Wala akong ganang mag-aral. That is the response of student 8. Binubuli ako ng classmates ko. That is the response of student 9. And the last one, mainit at masikip ang classroom. That is the response of student 10 from the question, bakit siya lumiban o nag-absent sa klase kahapon. Okay. Task 2 for you to prepare. Prepare a summary of frequency and percentage table and select 1 sample responses for each theme of category. Okay, you do this one. The same is true what we did in our previous discussion. Note that the numbers after each response is the ID number of the pupil respondent. Example, ID number 01, 02, 03, until 010 because our given in or population is only 10. Task 3. Using the summary table, comment on the themes derived, the similarities and the differences observed, as well as the sample responses used. Okay, that's all. Any questions so far with regards to your application, to your task? If no questions from the participants, then this is for all today. I hope you get something from me in my discussion with regards to the qualitative data analysis of your qualitative action research. Again, once again, thank you and mabuhay po tayong lahat.